We have different neurological conditions, many of which take away function, mobility, hand function, limb control. So we weren't really in a position to do the film ourselves. So although participatory film in nature, we have a professional doing it. We've asked the question, what can we capture that can show people what has been the impact of this project? We will see a series of interviews with the service users, asking them what the impact has been on their lives. We'll also see some interviews with the project staff. But mostly what we want the film to convey is a sense of the level of service user involvement that the project has, how the project and the evaluation has been to a certain extent co-produced, which is a really great way of doing evaluation and a really great way of doing project delivery.
I was asked would I be interested in coming along to a user group to give feedback basically, and of course I would. It's nice to give something back.
Why is it that you need like an advocacy service for people with neurological conditions? Why is that?
I've got through so much, mate. Housing, hospital appointments, benefits.
For the last 18 months we've met regularly to talk about how we measure the impact that the project's had on people's lives, on the service users that benefited from the project.
We discuss different ways that the advocacy agency could help people like myself. Every appointment I go to, she writes it all down because my memory's poor.
The questions come from the user group, so the user group have been saying, how would we measure the impact of this project on us? So we developed a series of metrics, I suppose, measures that you can measure the impact that the project's had. And we've developed questions around that to ask service users, which the project staff have gone off and addressed to the people that use the project.
It's good that you're in the company of people who can empathise, who've got similar disabilities, how they've been helped in a similar sort of way. It's just my opinion really, what experience I've had from the advocacy and what was the result of that. And it's also given me a sense of purpose, a sense of achievement.
We've gone through a lot of situations where it's basically impossible to get through without some support, so we can find more ways what it can help other people.
At Advocacy Centre North, we provide independent advocacy, standing shoulder to shoulder with someone, supporting them to understand the choices that are available to them and to make sure that they access the rights that they have. We were working with people who had neurological conditions and we were aware that it was a very specialist area and that we could do something better.
A lot of the people who have approached our project and need advocacy find they've been abandoned, they feel, by services, and they're not getting what they need, their rights aren't being upheld. And our job is about going in, supporting them as much as we can, depending on what the area is that they need help with.
Give me an idea of what a typical day in the life of Dot looks like.
Yeah, there isn't such a thing as a typical day. There isn't a typical day, but it can involve hopping on and off buses, going to various locations, supporting people in various different ways. It could be supporting somebody to go to a GP appointment, taking notes at a consultant appointment, writing letters, making phone calls, generally being with them and helping them feel heard, and then working out what action they want us to take.
We ask the service users to score themselves at the beginning and the end to see if they can identify what difference has been made.
In relation to your housing situation, choosing from 1 to 10, how were you feeling about living in that bungalow from 1 to 10? 1's really bad. 1. How do you feel about moving from that bungalow and living here now?
10.
Wow. So from the total depths of one scale right up the top of the other scale.
Yeah, because I'm happy, it's got a big garden with these two.
Our success isn't about whether somebody has a material change at the end of it, it's about how they felt going through that process.
How do you feel about me ringing your doctor and talking to them about what the facts are about your diagnosis?
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm really concerned about your memory now. Right. Well, me neither, Michael. Even through this conversation, you keep forgetting what we're talking about, which is fine for me because I work with lots of people like that, but it's not fine for you because it'll be worrying.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Right.
There was a time when everything were piling up on me and I felt like ending it. I felt like just giving up. My mental health were just in shreds. I had a severe car accident in '95. I got run over by 2 cars. The nerve damage. Every time I touch the floor, I get like a shooting pain all the way up my right side. I find it very difficult to even have a shower. Just everyday things what people take for granted. Sometimes I'm just housebound. No support. I didn't know where to get it. I couldn't really pay bills and things like that. I was having difficulty with housing. I was missing all my appointments with hospital. It was dire.
I was in the house by myself and I just felt like nothing could be done and I was going to be like that for the rest of my life. I was stuck. So I've dystonia. I've got damage to the left side of my brain, so it impacts on all the right side of my body, makes it weak, causes spasms and a lot of stiffness. I can't even make myself a cup of tea or dinner, breakfast. I've got to have somebody come in and prepare meals and help us get ready and help us get washed and help with the children. Me and my family basically live in one room upstairs, which is our bedroom, because that's where I spend most of my days. It has a really big impact on day-to-day life.
Somebody advised me to go to advocacy agency. They got me some sickness benefits. I met Jem. Jem's my advocate.
Paul came to us because there were some benefits issues going on, but he also felt his pain wasn't being addressed sufficiently by his GP and that it wasn't being managed appropriately. So that was why he came to us in the first place.
Jem's a lovely person. She's kind, she's considerate, you know, and she fights. She really fights for your rights, you know. And she helped me get my PIP for disability. Then we went to my doctor's and she got my medication for me the first time she went, which I've been fighting for 2.5 years.
Since I've been introduced to advocacy, it's really helped us. It gave us hope that I was going to get some help.
Dot gave me a ring and said she thought that she had somebody that I would work well with, and then she brought me along and introduced me to Dawn.
Dot come out first and she actually met me and found the person that she thought I would get on with the most, so she introduced Nikki to us and we've really got on so well.
What works successfully in our community advocacy is having volunteers who can spend longer time with somebody and also can commit to a longer period of time. We were very keen on developing that same model. For the right service user, it can be very successful.
When I first came, it was because she was having problems getting an appointment with her GP. And then when we got talking, we also talked about how she was struggling to use a manual wheelchair in the house and how really she would much prefer to have an electric wheelchair.
I had a wheelchair that was like left side propelled only, so I used to have to push the wheel with like just one hand, and it was really heavy and putting lots of strain on my left hand. So I had been told I wouldn't be entitled to an electric wheelchair, but since I've had Nikki's sort of, well, she's managed to get us the chair I'm in today, and it really makes a huge difference. I can get around the house a lot easier, and it makes a huge difference to my arm and stuff like that.
Volunteers are trained in how to be an advocate first of all.
We do the induction course, so we start off by introducing them to what advocacy is. Following that, we have a 2-day intensive neurological training course. We have a lot of very skilled expert professionals that will come in and talk about different conditions, different ways of working with people, give people a bit of an idea of what to expect working with people.
There are some life-limiting conditions that we might find ourselves supporting people with. We've had 3 people with motor neurone disease, and this is particular to working with neurological more than anything else. Yeah. I think it's fair to say that 2 of those clients have now died. So sometimes we find ourselves working with end-of-life issues with people.
Advocacy is advocacy. But working with people with neurological conditions can be a lot more complex. You have to consider having a different set of communication skills. Some of that might be non-verbal. Another skill that our volunteers need to be able to develop is to uncover more underlying issues than what the initial referral may come in with. There can be a lot more going on than is initially outlined in the referral that we get from professionals.
We support them to get matched up with a particular client where we feel as though there's either a specific interest by the volunteer or there's a specific need that we feel they can meet in the client.
We're encouraging them to feed back as often as possible. We hold peer support sessions. We have supervision with the volunteers on a regular basis, so they can come to us with anything that has come up that they may be struggling to find a way to work with.
And they're brilliant, they're fantastic.
I'd wanted to volunteer with people for a while. I work in HR. When Jem mentioned Stu, we have quite a lot in common with the art background.
She's volunteered to help introduce me to places in Newcastle, like that would help my own needs.
Stu's been finding it difficult to kind of get out the house, but he really wants to ignite what he's interested in again and get out and meet more people. We're at Chile Studios. I'd looked it up, I'd been in contact with the people who work here, and so we've come along to have a tour and see if Stu wants to come along.
We're here to rekindle my art work. It's therapeutic and gets me to join people and socialise.
I'm getting me house adapted. It's going to make things a lot easier. We're getting sort of like doors widened. We're getting the kitchen adapted where there's going to be like a small bench. I'm going to be able to make myself a little meal and a cup of tea, which will be huge. I'm getting a downstairs bedroom and I'm getting a wet room downstairs, so I'm going to have a complete downstairs living because I'm going to be able to sit downstairs with my family. Right now I can't get out the door. I'm going to get like a ramp put outside my door. I'm actually going to be able to pick my little girl up from school, which will be huge because she so wants her mum to pick her up from school.
The user group are in control of the evaluation, which enables the project a real life and a real strong foundation in reality and in service user experience. The findings have been really encouraging. We've seen some really transformational impacts that the project had on people's confidence, well-being, from their feelings of purpose, from their practical situations above all, their level of income, security, stability of housing, all across the social welfare markers which are so important to people who encounter barriers as often and as repeatedly as people with neurological conditions. The group, if you like, the catch-all of people with neurological conditions is one which has never really been addressed before.
People are applying all the time. We have referrals practically every single week.
It can change people's lives. Since I've had the help of Nikki, I can see what's going to happen at the end of it. I can see us getting out there and being able to do like everything that I wanted to do. I feel happier, more independent, my family's happier.
I honestly don't know where I'd be without the advocacy agency, and especially my advocate, Jen. My whole life, it's changed for the better.